Good morning, 4R. We are going to get started with our second day in reading clubs of our book, Jansen, case number 1, The Mystery of the Stolen Diamonds. And we can take a guess probably that this is her. This is Jansen on the front of our cover. And we know, if we go back and review some of the things that we learned yesterday about Jansen, we learned that she has a photographic memory. This is probably her and her friend. And so remember, her friend's name is Eric Shelton. If I kind of just review what's on that page, oh yeah, they're at a shopping mall. That is there. That's the setting of our story. They're in a shopping mall right now. They're with the baby brother that's in the carriage. We've got this picture here. And we can see that there are some quotation marks around this word click, because she closes her eyes and says click, and she remembers things. She makes a mental picture, mental camera. Remember, we learned that mental means that it's in her head. Her real name is Jennifer, but her friends started calling her Camera, and then it just got shortened until Cam. And at the end of the first chapter, we learned that there's a little bit of excitement that happens. And Eric is rocking the baby carriage, and they're talking about their science fair. One of them is going to make a sundial, and remember we talked about a sundial is something that you could use to tell the time if you didn't have a clock based on where the sun is at in the sky. And Cam was going to make a box camera. And then they hear this noise. It says, suddenly a bell rang. It woke Howie, and he started to cry. And so they see that it's in the jewelry store. Parker's Jewelry Store is at the top of our picture right there, and the author also writes it. And the alarm has just gone off. And then we ended page 8. The last chapter ended like this. He says, no, wait, maybe something is happening. And the author says something was happening. We talked about why that is italicized there, because they're saying something was happening. They're putting emphasis on that word. A tall, heavy man with a mustache and wearing a dark suit ran out of the jewelry store toward the center of the mall. He was in a real hurry. He pushed people aside, including Eric. Cam looked straight at the man and said, click. So if she said click, we know she's taking a mental image of all that's happening. So we're going to go ahead and start chapter 2. So you're going to go in your book to page 10. You can follow along, or you can just follow along on your Edpuzzle screen since you can see the words on there too. Chapter 2. The man kept running and caused a great commotion. What do you think commotion might mean? Hopefully you put something like a commotion is like kind of an issue, or like a lot of chaos, kind of a lot of people that are doing a lot of things. So that's kind of a commotion. He was bumping into dozens of people. He left a path of angry shoppers from Parker's Jewelry Store halfway through the shopping mall. Come back here, young man, one woman shouted, and pick up all my packages. Another woman dropped a bag filled with groceries. Eggs broke, tomatoes and cucumbers were rolling in all directions. If he's trying to get away, Cam asked, why didn't he run out one of the exits? What? Eric wasn't really listening. Howie was still crying, and Eric was trying to calm him. Just then, a young couple came out of the jewelry store. Look, Cam said. They were inside when the alarm went off. A small crowd had gathered. Cam was still standing on the bench. From there, she had a good view of the entrance to Parker's. The couple walked toward the nearest exit, and a couple being 2 people, right? The couple walked toward the nearest exit. The man was wearing a dark suit. He was tall, and so was the woman with him. She was holding what looked like a baby, wrapped in a pink blanket. There, baby, the woman was saying. Don't cry. It's all over now. Don't cry. The man was holding a very large pink and blue baby rattle. He was urging the woman to walk faster. That urging, that's a verb. It's saying what he's doing. Urging kind of means like he's insisting that she do something. Right here at Cam. So we've got this picture here. This is probably Eric and Cam. This is the couple and the baby blanket. Cam looked straight at them, and as they walked past and said, click. So if she's saying click, we know she's taking a mental image. Then Eric saw 2 old women coming out of the store. Look, he said, pointing. They were in there too when the alarm went off. The women were upset. One was clutching her heart, and we can see in the picture she's kind of holding her heart. Clutching kind of means like holding on to. The other was leaning forward and holding a cane with both hands. She walked as if the cane were the only thing keeping her up. The women sat down on the bench nearest Cam and Eric. Oh my, the woman Art said. I never thought I'd live through that. The other woman just sighed. The sigh is kind of like, ugh. Kim watched the entrance to Parker's a while longer. No one else left the store. Then she saw someone inside shut the door and hang a sign in the window. The sign said, "Sorry, we're closed." I wonder what happened, Kim said as she got down from the bench. Eric rocked Howie in his arms. I'm right here in the third paragraph. I don't know, but I wish they'd shut off that alarm. It's scaring Howie. I'll have to feed him if he doesn't stop crying. Eric held Howie against his shoulder. Howie stopped crying, but just for a minute. A loud police car siren sounded. It startled Howie, and he began to cry again. Quick, Cam, get me his bottle. It's in the insulated bag. Insulated is a word we talked about yesterday. Remember, that is something that, it has extra layers to keep something either hot or cold. It keeps something its temperature. So sometimes coats are insulated. Usually lunch bags are insulated. Cooler bags, blankets sometimes are insulated to keep us warm. Cam opened the bag. I'm right here on this second to last paragraph. Kim opened the bag and looked inside. Boy, he sure needs a lot of stuff. She gave the bottle to Eric. Are you sure you know how to feed him? It's easy. Watch. Eric cradled Howie in one arm. Cradled, that's a good verb. It means he's holding him like a cradle. With his free hand, he fed him the bottle. Howie was quiet. It works, Kim said. I guess he can't cry and drink at the same time. The siren got louder and louder. They must have called the police, Kim said. She watched as the police car turned into the mall parking lot and slowed down. It stopped in front of Parker's jewelry store. Both front doors of the car opened. 2 policemen got out and went inside Parker's. A moment later, the alarm over the store stopped ringing. They better hurry, Kim said, or they won't catch the man who ran out. The police did hurry. In a very short time, they came out of Parker's. They went over to the people standing just outside the store. Please, we need your cooperation, one of the policemen said. Did any of you see a man run from here? Everyone started yelling at once. Yes, we saw him. He was tall, heavy. No, he was short and thin. He had a mustache. He was wearing an ugly green tie. Ugly? I like that tie. I have the same one at home. The policeman held up his hands for quiet. Did any of you see which way he went? I did, one woman called out. He almost knocked me down. She put her hands on her hips and waited to make sure everyone was listening. He went that way. She pointed toward the center of the mall. One policeman ran to the center of the mall. The other reached into the car. He pulled out a police phone and spoke into it. Robbery reported at Parker's jewelry store, Hamilton Shopping Mall. Suspect, wearing dark suit and green tie, was last seen running towards Stage Street exit. Please send car to Stage and Fulton to help apprehend. 10-4 Central. He reached into the car and replaced the phone. Then he ran toward the center of the mall. That's the end of that chapter. This word apprehend is a little bit of a tricky word, probably a word we haven't heard before. Apprehend means to kind of to catch, I guess. Would be a synonym or a synonymous word you could use. So to help catch him. And then they said 10-4, that's the call to say that we're done talking over. So we learned a lot of information in this chapter. And so your job when we come to our reading groups today is going to be to decide who were the people in the store. Those are possible suspects. Remember, we learned that possible suspects are people that could have possibly committed the crime. We know that the crime is that something has happened in Parker's jewelry store. Now, from the title of the book, we can assume that it's probably some stolen diamonds. We don't know that for sure. The author hasn't told us that, but we could maybe assume that, or we could make an inference that that is what has been stolen. And the people that were in the store are those possible suspects. So today in our reading group, we are going to look at what do we know about the different people inside of the store. So I want you to go back and before you meet with me today, I want you to look at, okay, who is in the store and what do we know about them, so we can fill out that chart when we get to our reading groups. Great work today, boys and girls. We'll see you soon.